All right, so if you have not already, make sure you go down to the lecture notes. It's where I pull all of this information from. It's where I get all the quizzes from, all that good stuff. The lecture note is right underneath that little play pause it button. So you might have been quick to click that button. If you haven't gone back to the lecture notes, please do. And then we're going to get started. So, critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is to recognize what you believe and figure out why, but then also be willing to consult other information and be willing to change your views. It's okay. You can totally change your point of view. You can literally feel like you're going to die on the mountain for this one particular belief, and it might break your heart to find that that's not really true. Maybe whatever it is you believed in turns out not to be true, and it blows your mind, and you feel like kind of a little bit deceived, right? Or maybe betrayed by the truth. But then you go, okay, all right, fine. This is the truth. How do I accept it? How do I walk through it? That's the goal, right? To be a critical thinker is to be able to change your mind accordingly as you get more information. Okay, and be mindful of what it means to think logically. If you're in a situation in which you have a lot of stuff coming at you that's conflicting and things aren't making sense, that's because they're intended not to make sense. And that's when you have to go, I'm going to take a step back from all this information I'm getting, and I'm going to go down and figure out the actual truth and the logic behind this, and see if I can figure that out. That's our goal. Okay. You will have only 4 vocabulary words: argument, conclusion, issues, and reason. That's it. That's all you have for your vocabulary this week. And I'm going to walk you through each one of them to kind of help you out. So, an argument. Don't Google this one because it's wrong. What a lot of times my students will, when I ask you to use the word argument, you use it as in fighting, and that's not what an argument is. An argument, if you're going to have an argument, it is a conclusion about an issue. It is your argument is that you've come to a conclusion on an issue because it's been supported by reason. I just used all the vocabulary words right though. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. So, an argument is a conclusion that you come to on an issue based on reason, based on what you've been supported by reasoning. Research is what I meant to say. Sorry, a text came through my phone. It distracted me. Maybe I do have ADD. Okay. An argument is an issue. So I have a formula that I put in here that should help you, where if it helps you if you're mathematically brained, an argument is an issue with the conclusion supporting reasons. All right, so you have the issue, you have your conclusion, and supporting reasons. Put that all together, that's your argument. It's not a fight between two people. It is a conclusion you come to based on an issue, based on research that you've done or that you have. Again, it's not a quarrel. There's no winners or losers. It is not. It is not as easy as a pro and con, right? You can't. An argument is bigger than that. Okay. So an example would be, so an example I use is Julia Butterfly Hill was a woman who climbed trees because she was trying to save them. Okay, and so we have her, and then we also have old growth loggers. There's these two people with these 2 points of view, and both have their own argument as to why it is important that they do what they do. Julia Hill Butterfly says, what I am doing is important because I'm saving the trees. But the loggers are going, well, what I do is important because I'm supplying, wood for people in homes, and I'm helping to, help my family. So there's these 2 arguments based on reason on an issue. The issue is, should these trees be cut down? That's the issue. Should the trees be cut down? Julia Hill's argument is no, because we need them for the environment to keep people living, because people cannot live outside of nature. In that same issue, should we cut down these trees? The loggers are like, yeah, we need to, because we need to build the homes, and we need to supply for our family with monies and all that things. That's the issue. Okay? So, what we want to make sure is if we're having an argument, we recognize both are right in their own way. She's right. We need them for our growth and our, we need the trees for human life. We need trees, but we also need homes. Who's right? There is no right or wrong. They're both right in their own way. This is when we talk about arguments, what we're talking about the points of view on an issue based on reasoning. Okay. This is different than an opinion. An opinion does not have supporting reasons. That's the difference. An opinion is like an asshole. Everybody has one and they all stink. Hey-yo. Forgive my language. You all knew that was coming. Okay. So when we talk about an issue, again, is the thing that's the question or the subject that's under discussion. The issue here is, should the trees be cut down? All right. That's the issue here. The issue is the question or the subject that's under discussion. It must actually be debatable. You must be able to debate it in order to have an argument, right? Not a statement, it's a question. And we also don't argue what we might call kooks, people who have extreme statements that are not, you can't argue. You can't argue whether or not the Holocaust happened. It did. You will have people who will argue that, but you can't argue that. It existed. It is a fact. It is a statement. It's not an issue. It is a thing that happened. Okay. It's not an argument about whether or not it happened. It did, right? Or whether or not the earth is flat. The earth is round. We know this. There's no conspiracy about trying to prove or trying to, make the earth round for no reason. It is round. We see it. We've gone to space. It exists as a round object. Okay. So that is not an issue, whether there's a Holocaust or the earth is flat, because the facts prove that these things existed and are. So you can't have a debate on those. Okay. Let's see here. So topics, when we talk about a topic about something, a topic is an idea or a subject, right? The topic would be, so our topic would be old growth. That's the topic. Well, what's the issue? The issue is whether or not we should cut down these trees. So the topic is old growth. The topic is, old growth, and issue is whether or not we should cut those trees down. All right. So we can also use examples of, so I use Alpo as an example. Okay. Alpo is the topic. The issue is whether or not you should feed your dog Alpo. So the topic, Alpo, issue, should I feed it to my dog? All right. And then you have the argument, yes, because it's healthy for them, or no, it's not healthy for them. And then you have your resources that explain why. Ta-da! That is the argument as a whole. All right. So values deal with whether something is good or bad or right or wrong. The problem with that is not all values are the same for all people, meaning not all things that are right for one person are right for the other person, or wrong, or vice versa. So values, we will talk about later, they are based on, and this is the tough part, when you base an argument on an issue that is a value-based issue, the argument becomes hard because of each person's value. Julia Hill values the trees and the environment versus the guys who value monetary and material things, right? So again, it's hard to say which is right and which is wrong because everyone's values are different. Okay. When we talk about policy issues, issues that emerge from discussions of fact and values often come from policy issues. An example is if we find that smog-controlled devices help reduce pollution and we care about clean air, we're going to support the policies that enforce these use of devices. So, again, when we talk about policy issues, they align with our values. Okay. Something to consider is the more you have an emotional response to something, the more likely you're going to get lost in the issue. If these two people are having such an emotional reaction to the issue at hand and not looking at the facts or the reasons for either side, then the whole point of the argument gets lost. You have to be mindful of your emotions. You see that now. People have a physical reaction to a lot of the topics at hand. And that physical reaction, that emotional response, that is not helping your critical thinking. If you're having an emotional response to something, you got to take a step back and you have to look at the reality of it. Again, that difference between that tree being cut, it's being saved versus it being cut, right? We have to look at what is the importance of which one. Are we looking at a short-sighted or are we looking at a long-term? What is the thing that you need to pay attention to when you're having these arguments and coming to a conclusion on them? Okay. When you conclude when you come to the end of your argument, when you come to your conclusion on something, you want to make sure that it is based on reason. It is based on not the emotional response, but the actual reason behind it. What is the substance of it? Okay. All right. Conclusion is a position that you come to about an issue. Here's the issue. Should we cut down the trees? Yes or no and yes. Okay. And then what based on the evidence, right? She has evidence that we need the trees for life. They need the trees for homes. Based on the actual research and evidence, which one can you come to, which is going to be most supported or, important for the issue? Okay. Critical thinking is opinion with substance. When you have an opinion, you can have that, but you also need to have substance too. You need to have your research. You need to be able to back it up why you might have an opinion on something. Oftentimes, an opinion is missing the substance. Okay. All right. So, conclusions, the position that people take on issues. You might also see it written as a claim, as a viewpoint, as a position, as an opinion, or something that somebody stands by. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll down because some of this stuff is in the book, in the older book. You don't really have to worry too much about it. The biggest thing is I really want you to be mindful about understanding what it means to have an argument. And the goal here, the ultimate thing we are looking for, is to be able to understand what are we coming to a conclusion about. Okay? As a note, when we use the word reasons in class, I cannot tell you how often students get this wrong because they're using what they think they know reasons to be, but not how we use it in class. Reasons are statements of evidence given by supporting conclusions. Reasons are statements of evidence given to support your conclusion. The reason is the thing that you come to when you come to a conclusion because it's based on substance, based on evidence. Okay, so an example. The definition of reasons would be statements that provide support for conclusions. Okay? When we're using this word in class, I want you to use it as we would use it in class. All right? Reasons are also known as premises, support, and justification. Okay? Statements that provide support for conclusions. Okay? Keep that in mind as you're using this in class. Let's see here. So a way we would use reasons in a statement. So I have come to this conclusion on this, on this issue. The reason I have come to the conclusion on this is because, and then the reasons are the evidence, right? The reasons are the evidence. That's what I'm looking for, okay? The things that backs up your main point, okay? Your best way to know how the word reason is used correctly is you're looking for the because trick, right? Because my reasoning behind making this decision or coming to this conclusion on this issue is because, and the because is the reasons, and the because is going to be the research. I would say the issue is, the topic is Alpo. The issue is, should I feed my dog Alpo? One person says yes, one person says no. I come to the conclusion yes, and my reasons are because when I did research, I saw that there was a lot of good benefits to my dog's health in using Alpo, right? So you don't just say, oh, the reason, you don't just say, well, I have my reasons. Well, you have to back it up with evidence. Use the because trick. Use the word because, and then validate your point with your research, okay? These are the basics of what we're looking for in this class. I want you to be mindful of how you are using these terms and how you are using them correctly. Again, an argument is a conclusion that you come to about an issue based on reason, based on all the evidence. Okay, so here's the topic, Alpo. The issue is, should I feed it to my dog? And then I want to come to the argument of, should I or shouldn't I? Well, my reasoning for doing it is because of all this research that backs it up, versus this didn't have enough research to tell me not to feed it to my dog. Ta-da. Okay. All right, so go ahead and take a look at the notes. I don't cover all of them. Don't be confused if you're seeing that there's a book number in there. The book number goes to my old book, and the old book was outdated. And so I don't like using the outdated book, but I do like using the more recent one. So when you go into the week 1 module, you're going to see where it says chapter 1. You can click on that. That's going to give you the reading, and you can read through that. It'll give you more detail beyond what I'm just saying in the lecture. I'm just trying to give a quick cover of what it is, like the vocabulary words and how we're using them. But again, if you're seeing a page number, don't panic. Like, oh, the page number doesn't go to it. I know. I haven't gone through all of the page numbers to fix them, and it's okay. Majority of the time, students don't even go to the page numbers. I can't tell you how often I was like, I was in the book, and they didn't even read the book, so I get it. Anyway, that being the case, don't panic if the numbers don't coincide, but the information still should. Information is still correct. Page numbers just might not be. But that's okay, because when you read the chapter, you'll go, oh, that's where it is. So read the chapters. You'll be fine. Okay. Anyway, if you have questions, please reach out to me. A lot of the stuff in some of the notes is just giving you a little bit more information than what I'm sharing here. And it's fine. My whole goal, again, I just really want you to understand that vocabulary. Understand that an argument is not a quarrel. It's not a fight. It is the conclusion you come to based on an issue. Based on reasons, right? So the argument is the conclusion you come to based on an issue. On an issue based on reasons. I don't know why I keep messing that one up. Argument is a conclusion you come to about an issue based on your reasons. There you go. Okay, I repeat that like 1,000 times so that way you recognize what I'm talking about when I'm having this discussion about what these terms mean. So anyway, good luck. Thank you all. It's probably one of the shortest discussions you'll have all semester, so yay!